but if we get back to Rob Terry, personal opinion is that there would be some parameters if he was on the steroids that would have been needed to, build size if that's what got him big.
And in these natural shows, there's a lot of guys who did steroids for years, then come off, and if they're off for 5-6 years, I'm natural. To me, you're natural if you've never taken anything.
Philip Ricardo, legend, absolutely legend.
I was a very shy kid, pretty skinny. I was in the projects, so it's kind of, intimidating to be around that kind of atmosphere, but it was that growing up, I wanted to be healthy, and I actually grew up very sickly. I had asthma as a young kid.
Now, do you see the difference here? I wanted to be healthy versus I wanted to do the best natural bodybuilding in the world. Someone is egocentric, the other one is, of course, also egocentric, but it's internal motivated. The other one is external. And these are things that are important to me to consider whenever I'm judging on or reviewing certain things like this. Because a psychology of someone's language and talking can tell a lot.
It was more of a selfish thing. I wanted to be successful, and I saw all these other bodybuilders, being on ESPN, like TV, and so I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be in magazines. I wanted to be on the cover. But as I've gotten older and family and kids and everything else, you see that those things don't matter. And all these things that I do, it's just kind of like, it's nice, but it doesn't mean anything when it comes to eternal life.
What you see a lot with those natural bodybuilders is the fact that they are consistent all the time. There's never huge spikes and huge spike ups or spike downs. I don't know how you call that. But huge waves up and down with their body. Their body is always consistent all the single time. And for Philip Ricardo, if you have a whole profile on him, you can see also how his muscles show, how his muscles look. You always see consistency in his body. In his off seasons, he's, pretty much the same and not going from gigantic prior years to this natural bodybuilding champion. So to me, Philip Ricardo is 100%, if I had to put my money on it, 100% natural. But this is my opinion.
You think testing for steroids and eliminating it from the sport would maybe help it become mainstream?
No, not at all.
Joey Swole is inside the picture. Wow, what the hell?
You have?
Let me rewind that. I want to hear what he has to say.
No, not at all. You have natural bodybuilding. Nobody knows who they are.
All these organizations.
Joey Swole, guys, what the hell? I don't know what he is doing in this particular documentary. Saying nobody knows who they are because we are superior and we are the big guys. We use them stuff to look bigger and so we get all the attention. Disgusting, man.
All these organizations pop up and they try to compete against the NPC and the IFBB. They're not going to get there because everybody has their Mr. Olympia dreams. They want to step on that Olympia stage. The lure is too strong.
People.
Now, okay, that was King Kamali. I've seen his bodybuilding performances in prior years, which is amazing. He is saying that they are too strong, these organizations and this stuff, and they are competing against each other. It's not about that, King. It's not about that stuff that they want to overrule the world and people want to become Mr. Olympia. You have to understand, people in the natural bodybuilding world do this because of the one single most important thing to them: passion and their health. And if there is a chance they get on stage to, test themselves, test their will, then that's achievement for them. They're not looking for Mr. Olympia because they already know it's not within their field of interest. So you cannot compare them with each other. It's not a match.
I don't think he's natural. I don't think he's taken it to the insane levels, you know, but personally, I think he's dabbled in it here and there.
If I had to bet my house on is Mike O'Hearn natural or is Mike O'Hearn on drive, of course I'd bet my house that he's not natural.
So I don't want to discount his hard work. He is an extremely hard worker in the gym.
Tony Huge. I think this is the guy who's experimenting with all this stuff on YouTube. Terrible guy.
He is an incredible physique. He defies age, but I don't believe for a minute that he's not using performance-enhancing drugs.
Woo! The Mike O'Hearn mystery. I've known Mike for years, and if he claims to be natural, then he's natural. You know what I mean? I'm not going to refute him, but I will say one thing. I mean, people pick on this guy all the time, but I've been in that Gold's Gym since 1990, and Mike's been there. And that son of a bitch is there at 4 o'clock. His life is dedicated to building his physique. And
you know, I have seen Mike O'Hearn's whole life pictures, competitions, and the whole spectrum. I have to say, while a lot of people will say he is not natural, I've seen guys crazier than him, okay? And honestly, I give him the opinion, I would give him a doubt. And well, most of the people will say, no, he's not. Nobody shows the work ethic Mike O'Hearn is showing in his trainings. And this is also here saying someone about him. His work ethic is crazy. It's his life. Can you imagine if you are just 30 minutes to an hour inside the gym creating an amazing body, and this guy lives every single second for it? Yes, you're gonna get more out of it. And therefore, you know, because of his work ethic, because nobody trains like him, he's crazy. He's strong, he's crazy, therefore also he looks crazy because he's got good genetics. You can see it because of his videos when he was 14 years old, 13 years old, I guess. It's crazy. So I give him the opinion of a doubt. So I'm on your side a little bit, Mike O'Hearn.
Could be natural, it looks like Mike, it would be Mike.
And it would be perfectly fine if you would say, Rico, you're crazy as well. Perfectly fine. But this is my judgment of it.
But Mike is probably the one person out there that if a human being's capable of doing it, it's probably Mike.
Mike O'Hearn, even I see all these things that people say about him, he's been doing this thing for a long time. He powerlifts, he's strong, he's just a freak, just like Rob Terry, you know? And I think that because he's still affiliated, he's so involved with the federation, I don't think someone like that would be involved if they were doing something that wasn't, you know, clean.
That's what I'm also very agree with Philip Ricardo here, that people who are not involved with the sport claiming natural, you know, you in some way are proud because the world is overwhelmed with the other side of it. So doing something back for the organizations tells me that you have a certain heart to it. The same goes with Doug Miller. Doug Miller, I think he would not be mentioned in this particular documentary. Doug Miller is, in my opinion, one of the best bodybuilders in the world. The biggest, the craziest, whatever you have. Crazy work ethic as well. But he does a lot of things for the natural organizations. And there's also a thing that you have to take into account when you are giving your opinion on these things.
Most recently, he has taken an interest in Adrian Petrario, a Romanian refugee who stays in contest shape by competing throughout the year.
Adrian Petrario, man, it's great to see him again. I saw him in Dubai, I think as a part of the organization as a judge. Very nice guy. Funny thing is though, most natural bodybuilders peak at their 40s, 45s.
Your relationship with him and kind of how would you assess him as an athlete, as a competitor?
Adrian's focused. He's very precise. He's a businessman. That's first and foremost. And he does it for himself. But he does not like anybody else to, if they're going to take stuff, he's definitely one against them.
Adrian Petrario, 100% natural. So, by the way, when I say 100% natural, it's important to understand that never took a single thing in his life. Okay, it's not about the last 7 years or stuff. I'm talking lifetime.
Something other than yourself, your own best, right? So you're using ways to cheat, then it's not your best.
I'm completely agree here with Petrarian about the thing that whenever you're going to use, you're going to cheat on yourself. Because, you know, it's such a quick progress to something that otherwise is not possible for a lot of people, or otherwise takes a long time to develop. Therefore, you knowing that you get there faster, easier, yes, it is easier. Therefore, you are not capable of pushing yourself through that to achieve it. So, yes, you are not giving your best and you're cheating yourself on it because you cannot cope with the patient that comes with it.
The Romanian blood, these vampires.
Michael Hearn is correct here on this as well. People from Romania and the eastern part of Europe, their genetics is just like crazy.
How important is nutrition in natural bodybuilding?
So 100% nutrition, 100% the gym, and 100% mindset. So
that's also what I love, what he said there. A lot of people say it's 80% nutrition, 20% training. It's 100% of everything that's eventually gonna turn out as a great thing. That's what a lot of people mistake, because nutrition is on its own side, training is on its own side, everything else is on its own side. Lacking there in terms of percentages, you will not get the most out of it.
I thought it was the time for us to start a new organization where it's really truly given an even playing field, and it's a natural movement.
So the only problem that I have with this particular documentary is that they have only picked out one organization that you all know that I've been part of. But I would have liked it to be more obvious or more objectively. Once the WNBF would also be considered, and the OCB organizations, which are also one of the top natural bodybuilding organizations, that would have been more of an objective view of the whole spectrum of natural bodybuilding and the differences between them. So, but eventually this is not about different organizations. So, but I would have liked to be seeing that.
What's a typical bodybuilder's anabolic cycle looking like?
There's probably 2,000 chemicals that have been derived, but there's about 150 that have been produced in the world, and there's about 25 anadrol, D-bol, testosterone esters, NOR19 drugs, DHT derivatives, testosterone derivatives. Those are steroids. Then you go into SARMs. There's a bunch of SARMs, right? There's about 5 or 10 SARMs. It sounds great for a SARM, selective androgen receptor modulator, right? There's no question that the future in real chemistry and science is looking to a SARM.
The natural bodybuilders, however, are only limited to over-the-counter supplements, such as protein, amino acids, creatine, and vitamins.
Pre-workouts, also big thing, because over-the-counter supplements. In fact, there's a lot of supplements that I have gotten off the market from different brands because I had a suspicion for them being contaminated with things that shouldn't be in it. And that was very successful. So pre-workouts can have substances in them that are sold over the counter with contamination, and which in the end you will be tested for, and you will be getting caught for. This is what happened with Rob Riches and all the stuff. But know that these are not the only over-the-counter supplements. There's a lot of them contaminated, sometimes fat burners, and all these other things.
When you use regular steroids, I don't care if you're 18, 19, 20, or 45, and you gain that kind of weight, you know what happens, sir? Do you understand what happens? If you grow this, you're going to grow the left ventricle of the heart. Now, you do it in 4 or 5 months, probably microscopic changes. You're not going to see it on a gross level. You keep doing it, it's just going to be like anything else, sir. You're going to end up having side effects.
So then they have, in the beginning you had Ben Pakulski saying, yeah, nothing wrong with them. I don't know, by the way, but the last few years there has been a lot of people died in the pro bodybuilding realm. So I think that's a fair judge what is happening in this world.
Problem is that everybody thinks steroids are bad. I don't believe they're bad. I believe they're tools to enhance our quality of life, to enhance our performance, to take us places the human body couldn't otherwise go.
Now, enhancing quality of life and enhancing performance are two separate things that you cannot interrelate, okay? So you have to dissect them.
Everybody's on steroids.
King Kamali, everybody's on steroids. Smart man.
Everybody.
Everybody.
From the doctor to the lawyer to the judge to the guy who plays, weekend golf to the girl who just wants to lose weight. Everybody's taking it.
Everybody is taking it. Well, in a way I can relate to him, King Kamali, because there are a lot of people using it. Yes, in fact, a lot of people walking in your gym who are this skinny, a lot of times they are using it trying to get more jacked. So yes, a lot of people use them, but to say everybody is a statement that is very absurd.
But the funny thing is when you're sick, when you're hurt, if you're burnt or anything, the first thing you take is a steroid to get you better.
So the statement of this guy is whenever something happens, you get burnt and you need a quick recovery process, you're eventually gonna get some steroids to get stronger faster. And the thing that he says is, there are just people here saying that it is bad, but whenever this is happening, you're still using it. So why are we even making it so bad? Well, that's a different thing. The thing is, you have to not interrelate them together because it has no relation with them. Looking bad at steroids because people are overusing them to a degree that it is harmful and to a degree that is taking away the hard work for a lot of people who are not in competition and for people who are burned down, and need to recover quicker. These are two whole separate things.
The use of anabolics goes way beyond bodybuilding. It goes beyond sports. It's common in the entertainment industry as well, where stars are required to go through radical transformations in a matter of months.
True. So when you have people like Superman, people like the American guy, the American hero, Captain America. These guys make such transformations and then the media publish them as, you want to have the workout from Mr. Captain America's secret of getting jacked. Well, a lot of what these guys is they are using these performance enhancing drugs to make the process fast so they can shoot the film as quickly as possible, because it is a very costly thing to do and to train the body naturally to a point that they want to have a body that represents a Captain America. So yeah, TV celebrities, movie celebrities, they do whatever they need to make sure they're meeting the deadline.
Exactly what it is that he's doing. And then he was eating all this strange food. So we know there's something behind all that.
Eating whey protein with oatmeal. Oh yeah. Man, that was a long time ago. It's just, I was doing that for every single day. But, thinking about it, still loving it.
As a natural athlete, you don't have those type of things that you can use. So you have to be smart with your nutrition, your training, to where you choose a body part that, you train it one day, but you got to give it enough time to recover, get enough sleep.
And that's also the reason why we as natural bodybuilders, we have to learn a lot of things because we have to do with these dampened recovery rates as opposed to someone who is using. So therefore, getting into natural bodybuilding, fitness, growing muscles naturally for the health side of part, but also for the longevity part, and to progress even more, you have to educate yourself every single day, week, whatever it is, because along the way you're coming across a road with a lot of blocks, and you have to go, past them and in between them and get around them, and therefore knowledge needs to be there.
Over time, the body will adapt, right? And epigenetics, that you're able to actually control your genetics to a point by your environment and your stimulus. And if you consistently stimulate the muscles and they get used to working out often, then over time you get those larger, mature muscles that it's usually a little bit older group that you'll see in the natural world that really come out because of the muscle maturity. And it's just that constant.
That's a true thing, that the muscle maturity comes with age. Whenever you're getting older, those cuts, and I always say it's like a diamond you have created, but now when you get older, you're shaping that diamond, creating a beautiful diamond. That's exactly what is happening.
It is the food. You ask any professional bodybuilder, from Jay Cutler to Ronnie Coleman to Dexter Jackson to Phil Heath, everyone will tell you the same thing. It's the food.
Okay, King Kamali, so with only foods, without training, not important. Wow, these guys wows me all the time, man. I was quite impressed of King Kamali's his posing routines, very artly and great, but this things he is saying is.
Genetic is number one. Okay, genetics is number one. I don't care who you are or how hard you train. I mean, the genetics is supreme.
Hard work.
Greg Valentino, genetics number one. I agree with that. Someone who is predisposed with better genetics eventually get away easier with showing a better physique, more crazy. So yeah, genetics is number one, but it entails 50% of the outcome. For instance, if your dad has amazing genetics but have never trained in the gym to express those genetic outputs, and now you, from the same genetic framework of the dad, is doing the job inside the gym, and you suddenly had this crazy physique, you have made that genetic to a certain outcome. You have made it an expression of what it can become like. So genetics is very important in that, but it's 50% of the work.
We do in-season and out-of-season testing. No other natural organization does that. Only INBA, PNBA does that.
Not totally true. There are more organizations testing off-season.
There really isn't a way to really prove that someone is lifetime natural, if that's your question, or if they were on 5 or 10 years ago. Yeah, but if we get back to Rob Terry, personal opinion is that there would be some parameters if he was on the steroids that would have been needed to, build size, if that's what got him big. And there'd be some effects that others might have been able to erase over time that it'd be tough for a Rob Terry.
Again, in these...
Hey, that's the same Ironman owner, previous owner, saying this. Funny.
And in these natural shows, there's a lot of guys who did steroids for years, then come off, and if they're off for 5, 6 years, I'm natural. To me, you're natural if you've never taken anything.
The testing is a...
Greg Valentino, amazing. That's the way it is. If you've never ever taken a single shitload, that proves you're natural. Otherwise, you're not.
This process is grueling to do for one evening. Doing it for the entire weekend could be dangerous.
Could be dangerous, depends on how your approach is. Everything to an extreme is dangerous, but, just want to make sure that the expectation of, prepping yourself for a show doesn't have to be dangerous at all.
It is the best a body's going to look right on stage, and it's the worst the person feels. And it's the most unhealthy as well. The water depletion and all those things, and playing with it and playing with your carbohydrates. And
Water depletion doesn't have to be a thing in your preparation for getting on stage. Not at all. With me, I constantly drink even on the day itself. So you have to keep yourself hydrated because most of the muscle is in fact water. This is the old way of thinking of doing bodybuilding, and this is the way why we have a certain approach to doing things when it comes to shows. Oh, we need to restrict our water. Oh, we need to do cycling carbs and stuff like that. You know, it goes to an extreme, and it doesn't have to be. Yes, it's gonna become dangerous when you do these crazy things. But if you understand that whenever you're gonna stop drinking, your body will eventually shed some weight with depleting water, and if a lot of it, if a lot of the muscle is consisting of water, well, guess what? You have made your muscles look smaller. So not that very smart at all.
You really take your body to a place that it's uncomfortable and where it really shouldn't be. Kind of how I was for the last 5 days, for instance. I mean, hormones are completely out of whack. I'm cold all the time. My nails are blue. Everything is messed up, you know, and you're not supposed to take your body to those places.
True.
This means everything. This is the natural Olympia. I am the reigning defending natural Mr. Olympia champion.
Reigning defending.
And I'm gonna do everything that I can to maintain that. And
you can see already the guys looking at what the hell is this guy saying.
First place, gold medal, bumped up to an $8,000.
There's your champion, guys.
Your champion, PME Elite, Roman.
The humble man. Goosebumps.
What can be done to make natural bodybuilding more popular and more, you know what I mean, more spread as opposed to enhanced bodybuilding?
What made the original bodybuilding great? Do you think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger's physique? I don't think so.
Well, he put it on the map originally back in the...
Yeah, but what put it on the map? Arnold Schwarzenegger, Muhammad Ali, those personalities. That's a different level. And that's what started bodybuilding. So for somebody to make natural bodybuilding top notch, you need that personality.
You need those
it can't be the
stars.
body. Yeah, you gotta have the stars. I know that people want to go, no, it's
that personality Michael Hearn is talking about. I'm trying to be that guy. You know, I feel that's my task, why I'm on this world, to show the people that it is possible. And I try to do that with various documentary style and stuff like that. But I am totally agree with the thing he says. What made bodybuilding big, what made boxing big, is the kind of persons who set the standard to tell it all to the whole world. And up until this day, natural bodybuilding is still searching for that person. So Eugene Senda was it before, way back 100 years ago, but it's time to get it back. So up until this day, we're still finding that person, and that person sitting here. I'm trying to do my very best to do that. And you know, I know it's if it is not up to me, it is up to someone else eventually, and it is a story to be told. So yeah.
Does natural bodybuilding need a personality to make it successful? Can bodybuilding rely solely on the beauty within the sport, or does it need to be more than that? Do we need it to be a freak show?
I'm thankful that we're getting some different things that...
I think the whole thing with the freak show-ish thing about bodybuilding is a wrong statement. I believe bodybuilding, everyone in this world should be doing bodybuilding for the longevity sake of things. Because of bone losses when we get older, you know, the more muscle you have, eventually the longer you're going to have a pleasant life. And I think this is the main concern we need to have with bodybuilding, not per se as a show component, but as a component of your health. So this is the most important thing.
Natural pro bodybuilding provides an option for athletes who want to be competitive without the possible risks that come with performance-enhancing drugs. But it still has a long way to go to reach wide recognition.
It never had a long way to go. It was there from the very beginning, from the start. It all started with Injin Sandow and its followers. It started with natural bodybuilding. Eventually, when the drugs were involved, we were, get off the path. It's time to get back to that standard, and not only for the sport, but also for all people around the world. Okay guys, that was it. This was the documentary overall. I love to watch these movies, of course, because it involves the sport that I'm in. As a natty or not standpoint, I don't think this movie catches all important aspects. I think overall the movie is more, of course, on the sport side of things instead of the health side of things, which for me, I am in the sports side of things because of the health side of things. Because I'm doing this for my health only, and sports was coming with that to compete, it was the health in the first place that had to be in place before I was even attending to the shows. I wish that it had more to do with the health side of things and what it can mean for other people around the world sitting here and not per se pursuing to get on stage or something. There are some guys who I thought shouldn't be in it and giving their opinion on it, but hey, that's with all things. Yeah, I've high doubts of one guy. The rest I know personally: Adrian Petraeus, Philip Ricardo. These are genuine natural bodybuilders that I can put my money on. They are 100% honest with everything they do. So overall, it was an okay documentary, but it could have been better. But it's never perfect. So I think much of the wise words came actually from Kai Green himself. He's a very philosophical guy, he's never really putting people against each other or things. He sheds some light on things, that are important from a philosophical standpoint. But I hope you liked it, guys. This is how I look everything. This is how I judge certain things and how I look what goes on in the organization itself, and if I'm willing to compete with that organization anytime soon. I see what is happening and all that stuff. So for me, this movie was just another look into, the people and the natural bodybuilding world in general. So let's go on to the next video, and it's time for I'm Natural Bodybuilder 2.0. Let's get it done, guys.